Yo, what is up, team? Welcome back to the Political Podcast. I'm being joined by none other than the David James. Say hi.
Hello.
Now, you guys seen this guy last time on our last podcast. To say the least, he was very harsh about President Donald Trump and his recent actions in the US as the 47th US president, as you guys might know. Right?
Right.
So, we're actually going to be talking a bit more about another topic
Mm-hmm.
We'll be talking about none other than Vladimir Putin and his really aggressive war on Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
A cold war that should have never happened. Okay, what I did there? Cold War. No pun, actually pun intended. Cold War. It's a very cold war. So I'm going to be talking about various topics. I've actually written down a list of. I've actually got several categories.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. David James doesn't seem very interested because it's not really his thing talking about war. But anyway, we've got some stuff to talk about actually. So we're going to talk about the first thing that's been going on. Basically, really the start of the war.
Mm-hmm.
That's the geopolitical split between the pro-Russians and the pro-Ukrainians.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you tell us a bit about that? What do you know about the 2014 fighting in eastern Ukraine?
Well, it's quite simple. Putin wants Ukraine. He wants all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2014 he annexed Crimea.
Because obviously in 2014 he's seen that there was Donetsk and Luhansk and all those regions were breaking away from the pro-European sphere of influence and the pro-Ukrainian sphere of influence.
Supposedly, but I don't think that's correct.
And obviously he's seen that as an opportunity, right? He's seen that as an opportunity to take back what he calls the historical Russia.
Mm-hmm. But people of Ukraine don't want the historical Russia to be part of historical Russia. They want to be independent.
Exactly. And right now, he's trying to reform the Russian Empire the government we call them the Tsars. The Tsars spent not millions of years, that's a stretch, hundreds of years creating, and he wants to bring that back, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't want to bring back what the Tsars did.
Well,
the Tsars were capitalists.
Yeah, but he still wants to bring back the empire.
He wants to bring back the old Soviet lines of influence.
Yeah.
But he's lost quite a bit of that.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Which, obviously, if Putin doesn't get what he wants, there's going to be some issues right there, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
As you can tell. Well, let's just start with the next topic, which I think is a really crucial part of the storyline, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the President Trump being elected in 2016, which was supposedly rigged, by the way.
It's supposedly rigged.
What do you feel about that? Do you think it's rigged? Do you think it's not?
You mean the 2020 election?
Yeah, that one. The one,
yeah.
not the 2020, the one where Hillary Clinton and President Trump.
Oh, he was in power then. Was that Trumpy?
No, that was Obama. Obama had a second term already, and he was already going to be leaving office soon. And then President Trump was running for president, which surprise, no surprise there is there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he wanted to run for president, which, to be honest, nowadays you can't blame the people for voting for President Trump, because what does Hillary Clinton have? She doesn't have anything, because Trump is known for his jazzy hair. People call it fake. He's known for that. He's well known for his hair.
Is that it?
Well,
his hair.
But he's also well known for his brand, Make America Great Again, and he's also known to be a part of a really big business family.
No.
The Trump Tower, all that kind of stuff.
No.
He was also, but listen, in his family tree, they were responsible for the rise of New York.
His company bankrupted 6 casinos, so how can that be good?
Well, sometimes you just have to rig the system just to win,
No, not like that you don't.
Yeah.
Not when you bankrupt casinos and other businesses.
But to be honest, I still think it's pretty, this is kind of off topic, I still do think it's really disrespectful that Trump decided to, take the piss out of Zelensky in the meeting that he had found.
Yes, it was. It was very bad. The schoolyard bullying
Yeah, and also JD Vance got involved as well. JD Vance was just sitting there like a lapdog the whole time. He was like, you shouldn't be saying all this about President Trump. He's trying to save your country.
Well, Vance is a complete idiot as well. He's another idiot.
He's a nutcase, actually. That's what
Yeah.
he is. They're just schoolyard bullies. And then bloody Elon Musk probably just tweets about it on X.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. You're saving our country. That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about another topic. Actually, we're going to touch back on. Well, not touch back on. We're actually going to be touching on the interference with the Ukrainian elections, because supposedly there's some riggedness in the Ukrainian elections with God, I can't remind his name actually. Can you remind who I'm talking about?
You talking about Zelensky?
No, not that guy. It's another guy before that who was pro-Russian.
Oh, I can't mind his guy.
I think it was something Victor actually.
Yeah, well, could be.
Not Victor Orban. Oh shit.
No.
1 second. I'm actually going to research actually. So this is the only time I'm going to be researching in this podcast, because I actually can't remember the guy's name.
Mm-hmm. The Americans were trying to interfere with that election.
Ukrainian president.
And don't forget, President bleeding Trump
Yeah.
tried to ask Zelensky for dirt on Biden. And because he didn't get it, that's why he's maybe a wee bit hostile towards Ukraine, because he didn't get what he wanted on Biden. That's because he's a big bloody
I
baby.
think this is it. Viktor Yanukovych.
Right, okay.
That guy.
Yeah.
Viktor Yanukovych. No wonder I couldn't remember that name, but it's the guy who was in power previously, and he was pro-Russian, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to follow what Putin wanted. And as long as he was in power, Putin probably wouldn't have interfered with Ukraine. But this is what I keep saying. This whole war would have never happened, ever, in the history of forever, if Trump was in office.
No, probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly, because, as we all know, to Putin, Trump is a lapdog.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he sees Trump as a geopolitical pawn.
Mm-hmm.
As long as Trump's in power, the Americans will probably not get involved. They'll be like, yeah, just take over Ukraine. Yeah, just take over the Baltic states.
Yeah, they just want to carve it up between Russia and the USA.
So you think that's a problem though, don't you?
Of course, it's a big problem. It's a massive problem.
Now, speaking of the Ukrainian invasion, let's talk about that topic next, because that's actually our fourth topic on the podcast. We're going strong. How are you doing over there, Sani?
Fine.
Alright, fine. Yeah, we've actually got someone watching this whole thing in the background, so... So, the Ukrainian invasion. So, the Ukrainian invasion, as we all know, everyone all knows how it happened. It all started because after about, I think it was about a month before, you probably don't remember this, but a month before, there was actually over 100,000 Russians on the lines of the border of the Ukraine.
They said there was a military
Special military operation.
exercise. It was a military exercise, and that's all it was going to be. And he kept saying he wasn't going to invade, and then he turned out and invaded. So he is a liar as well.
Because he claimed, as we all know, sorry, not that guy, we're not going to mention him right now, but Putin is obviously known for his really special military operation, he claims it is. He claims that the invasion of Ukraine was just going to be a special military operation. It was going to be them going in and settling things with the Ukrainians.
Yeah.
In reality, they were just going to invade them at some point, which inevitably happened on the 25th of February 2022, which is quite unfortunate. And because of that, there's been a really, ever since then, I think NATO has had its highest defence threatening thing whatever happened in a while. Ever since the invasion of Crimea, NATO's been on high alert.
Yeah.
So let's talk about another topic actually involving the Ukrainian war actually, because another thing I think we should touch on is the rigged separatist votes. Do you remember back when Putin made fake elections for all these parts of Ukraine to join Russia? Remember that?
Yeah.
And supposedly all the parts that were invaded by Russia all wanted to join Russia.
Yeah. But then.
And Putin made it seem like just one big, oh yeah, this just proves that the Ukrainians are bad people and they want to join us. You get the
He
gist.
didn't want to join them at all.
So yeah, unfortunately, but unfortunately he didn't. Well, I don't know why I'm saying unfortunately. Fortunately, you know, the Ukrainians weren't like, oh yeah, we're gonna give up to Putin because he wants to get our land.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be honest, I think at the rate we're going, with the losses in Ukraine and the little effort being put in to stop the war, we're looking at like a good we're looking at another decade of fighting. I feel like.
No, it depends on Russia.
Because as we know, Ukraine is losing a lot of people, but also the Russians are losing a lot of people. So right now it's just it's kind of just like guerrilla warfare. It's like a war of attrition.
And also their economy is going down the pan.
Just like Ukraine's economy though, down the pan, isn't it?
No, I think Ukraine's a bit stronger than Russia.
I still can't remember. I still can't believe I didn't remember that game. That guy's name, Viktor Yanukovych. That's his name. So we also have the rebels of June. So if you don't, this is a really big. This was a very big like moment in the war. I feel like the rebellion group called the Wagner group. If you don't remember that, which I'm sure you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
A guy called what was his name? It was Yevgeny Prigozhin, yeah. So he decided he was not going to have any more of Putin's lies and nonsense anymore. So he decided to invade. I think it was the 23rd of June, which obviously didn't turn out as most people expected. People had expectations that the Russian government would be overthrown within days.
Yeah.
But obviously Belarus, being the caring wife they are to Russia, decided, oh, don't kill my husband, just come to me instead and I'll give you homes and asylum seeking to live in.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Because Russia's wife came in just to save them. Or we sometimes call Putin's wife Lukashenko. Now, Alexei Navalny, this is another story actually. Ellie! Get up here. So, the thing that happened with him though, his ending was actually pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Hey Sammy, you're allowed to talk, don't worry. You can be in our conversation whenever you want to. Anyway, what happened with him, he was actually killed in prison.
Yeah.
All because, Ellie! Away from that wire. So yeah, pretty much what happened though is, he got killed in prison because all these Russian people were like, oh, you're a bad person, you're against the war. He was against the war, obviously.
No, he was against the war.
Of course he was.
But Putin doesn't like opposition.
But that's the thing, when it's not, like, when your country's not a democracy, you're not allowed to speak against your government.
Yeah. Russia's not a democracy.
But to be fair, recently we've been having really similar things happening in the UK, so we can't exactly say that we're democratic. Because if you were to talk badly about the war in Gaza, you'll have the police rolling in being like, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that.
No, there's been demonstrations about Palestine and all that.
And then in the US, they have the black movement where people are like, give them equal rights. The police aren't going to allow that,
Well, they should do, because civil rights movement was born out of that.
Well, the Black Lives Matter movement, we call it, but And then we're now, I've got another section actually to touch back on. We've just got current events, so current events of today. So has there been any like strategic things happening in the last week or so that you would consider putting in this podcast?
Not really, no. Just see what happens with Putin and Trump and what Zelensky wants for Ukraine, which we know what he wants.
Well, this is what he wants. All that Putin wants in this war is that he's hoping that he'll seize Ukraine, Trump will lay into his demands, and he'll be like, this is what Trump's going to be like, for now on we're going to give Putin parts of Ukraine and we're going to make America great again, make Russia also great again. He's going to do his little,
Swimming.
Yeah, he's going to be swimming like a woman in a minute. Anyway, all jokes aside, hopefully 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 Trump actually does something and doesn't just sit back like a gormless freak, innit?
Well, I hope he does something, nothing at all. It's not up to him, it's up to the Ukrainian people.
Well, yeah. And right now Zelensky's doing all he can, and all that Trump and Vance care to do is criticise him for wanting to know the peace deals between the Russians and the Ukrainians. Which I think is a joke, actually.
Trump just wants his money. Trump is all about money. He doesn't care about anybody else.
And might I add, by the way,
money.
might I add, he's also a failed businessman.
Yes, he's a very failed businessman. He's also a felon as well.
He's also a convicted felon because he's done awful things behind the scenes.
Yep, he has.
But what even annoys me though is, right, like even after he got convicted as a felon of like many charges, he's still allowed to run for president. He's given immunity basically.
Yes, because the Republican judges allowed that to happen for him to run for, and the Supreme Court allowed that to happen as well. The Supreme Court actually were involved, I think, with a lot of the cases that he was up against for fraud and election interference as well. And I think the Supreme Court's got a lot to answer for.
Oh, and let's just add another thing, by the way. Also, he was somewhat responsible for the Jan 6 protests at the White House.
Yes.
Where all those people were coming to the White House demonstrating just because Trump didn't win.
Yeah.
Which, no doubt if Trump lost the election in back in 2024, he probably would have done the same thing.
No, because he thinks it was a landslide victory. It wasn't. A lot of people did not vote. That's why he got into power. A lot of people didn't bother to vote. And he claims it was landslide. It wasn't a landslide.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say though is, right, if he lost like the election, right, he would have probably done the exact same thing and rolled in with all their Make America Great Again and their
yeah, I think hopefully maybe people learned a lesson from the last time not to do anything stupid like that.
And as we all know right now, things aren't going right for Elon Musk either.
No.
Like, he's a failed scientist.
He's not a failed scientist. He's just over his head. And what he's doing has got no evidence of any fraud at all.
Now, I know this isn't really... I know we've kind of went off topic a bit, actually, to be honest, with the Make America Great Again. But, we can do what we want. This is our podcast, and we can do what we want. But I think we've seen enough, really, haven't we? What do you think, Dave?
Of what?
I think we've seen enough. I think I've asked all my questions.
Well, let's just hope that Donald Trump and his cabinet make more mistakes, like Signalgate, putting a lot of people's lives at risk, pilots' lives at risk. And I hope there's a lot more...
Oh, actually, I'm going to add another thing, actually. Recently there's been, before we end the podcast, there's another thing been surfacing right now, actually, believe it or not. Trump has actually suggested that he could compete against Obama in the next election.
The man's crazy. He knows as well as anybody else. The presidents are not allowed to go more than 2 terms in power.
But wouldn't you say it's fair, though? If Trump thinks it's alright to run a 3rd term, do you think Obama could?
No, because Congress will sort that out.
We're ending the podcast now. Bye!